Good morning. I often get up at this time of the morning. It's just actually daylight. I go to bed quite early. I know you've got to watch your sleep pattern, but that's who I am. And generally, what I do, I check out the news, see what's going on in the world. Good time actually. There's a lot of things that come on the news at this time of the morning that don't often make the main time news broadcasts, if you follow me. And I couldn't get on the BBC, which is a good sign. It's probably very busy. And so I thought, well, I'll do one of these. I've just seen this, which I got. It's actually quite good. It's actually the flower of life. And it's got little embedded, they're actually crystals. You can just see them. There's like a pattern. Like I said, I did quite a study of, excuse my throat, sacred geometry, in fact, various things. When I was on this retreat period, as many of my local friends I know, they haven't seen me, but I've had physical problems as well, which really made me go into retreat. Basically, where do I start? All to do with the legs, ulcers. And that was, hello, was even someone there. Hi. Well, there you go. Other folk are up at this time. Imagine, it's amazing, this thing, because Facebook really for this sort of thing. I don't get much on the typing. Never have done that. But I can't understand, mind you, it is resources. But for this, you can either make your own little video, which is now live, and anyone who wants to can listen in. You can send it via Messenger. So even if people have missed it, and you're like me, you're starting out, but you get inspired to, I'll send them a copy. Because believe it or not, I've got over, I did have over 3,000 friends on Facebook, but these are mainly people that were attracted to the work I was doing, healing mandalas, and they were sent all over the world. And I didn't finish the spiel. There is everything I do now, and it is I see now a response to a prayer that I sent up, a intimate prayer to Father God. That's how I talk to God, Father God, and that's the way I was taught. I might add, and people think, oh yeah, you're on a trip. The Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven. This is how we were taught by our avatar. And yet I've had quite a few funny, just goes to show, doesn't it? When I pray out, people say, oh, he's on some kind of trip. That's the way we were taught. Jesus taught us to pray, our Father, who art in heaven. And yet how many people do that? I mean, don't just say the Lord's Prayer on right, although it is a powerful mantric prayer, same as the great Invocation. That's a prayer I come across many years ago via the Lucis Trust. Fantastic wording. It is not so personalised from the point of light. It's like a scientific mantra from the point of light within the mind of God. Let light stream forth into the minds of men. Anyone can check that out. It's not offensive to any religion. It has been modified a few times, but a very powerful mantric prayer. And I first got into this life, because I stress that, we are and have incarnated many times on this planet. And we've been many different lives, male, female, many different religions. You suddenly find it out, like me, I'm obviously going through this, a Sikh thing. I didn't know, but I do now. The Sikhs, that's what they do. They don't believe in cutting their hair. because they feel it's unnatural, and that's the sort of phase I'm going through. I quite like them. It's not long compared to some people because this is a fairly new, but I think it suits me a lot better than the shaved head, well, very short back and sides haircut that I did sport, if you like. This does look natural and white. I'll get into that. So you can get into trips. Obviously, white sign of wisdom. But I think it suits me, and that's it, because it is me. That's it. But the flower of life, you can get this design, and it goes back again. I think even thousands of years. The flower of life, and it's said, this the pattern, the design, you see the shape, it's very, you'll see it about whatever. This is mainly for cleansing and protection. See, it impermeates your aura. People can't, normally when I'm wearing the t-shirt, people won't see it because it's not a thing. But that is great. I think we've got to, those of us that are sensitive, and there are many of us now, are sharing another video about the need for us to be true to ourselves. But by that, I was meaning our own personal experience. Many of us have had miracles happen through us. It is prophesied in the Bible, right? And it is happening. Maybe that's something I'd put a shout out. Anyone who wants to share their miracles that are personal and that have happened to them, because it's good to do that. It's like you're witnessing, and people gain from that. You might, witness your, we would say in the church, testimony, but it is positive. We all know the amount of news that's going on that's negative. And yes, people can argue, well, we got to know the truth and all of that. But as Mr. Trump says, there's a howl. I've got to watch what I say. A lot of fake news. The media is a very powerful tool, and unfortunately is, like everything else, corrupted. So take whatever you see on the news from around the circle with a pinch of salt. Ask. Now, another tool that I've come across and is very useful is the pendulum. Now, this isn't witchcraft or what. This is a science. The pendulum, you get your pendulum and it connects to your higher self. So it's like something you can ask. You still don't have to follow it. You don't come fanatical. But if you have decisions, like now I was looking at, because of my health issues, there's a new thing out where you can get a blood test done. That's very good. I thought, oh, this is very good, but it was 30 odd quid. I do get the occasional blood test on now, so it's not often because the amount of health issues I've got, and that's karmic, I'm now beginning to see. It's very hard to accept, and your faith is certainly put through it if you are afflicted. And I am now, I was really going into the depths of the dark night of the soul because I've become completely immobilized. I was waffling on earlier. Right, ulcers. I mean, this goes back years. I used to have nurses come to my house to change the dressings. They were nasty, they were weeping, especially on one leg. And this is years I've been through this, and the amount of, which I shouldn't have, but there you go. Oh, that's good. Doctors aren't God. And even though it's now well known that to go on repeat prescriptions of antibiotics isn't a good idea. Eventually your system becomes immune and they have no effect, and that's exactly what happened to me. I'd go and see the doctor every now and then and just whack antibiotics. No good. And so what happened is it came to a climax. I was literally told, that's another issue I want to waffle on about, I'll just sit with your leg up. Oh, great. What a life. Stuck in watching TV. You can't get out. When the ulcers were there, I've got now another condition. Couldn't walk any distance. Couldn't even stand. Oh, yeah. I mean, to even go in the kitchen and compulsivate, you got the depression, which, no one. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, I have a diagnosed manic depressive. I've also been diagnosed paranoid schizophrenic. In fact, that was my first official diagnosis. And we're going back now 20 odd years. Yeah, 90. I've got a letter recently, which for those of you that do have mental health problems, there's a form you can get, cost me 30 quid, that the doctor can sign, and it's to do with debt. And it actually is saying, have you got any mental health conditions that affect the way you can handle money? And I certainly have. Excuse me, when I have a manic episode or go into mania, however you want to define it, you can get a few ideas and you can lose the plot. I mean, if you're into that and you've had, the best person I can recommend you to check out, if you've got a diagnosis of manic depression, is a lady called Professor, and she is a Professor, Jamie. Oh dear, that happens for me, names. And I've got books by this lady. Maybe not to be. But people will know who I'm talking about, and she is a diagnosed manic depressive. And she's written some brilliant books, and she's opened up about her episodes she's had, which are very embarrassing. That's probably what I want. Yeah. When you have a manic episode, obviously when you come out of it, you feel a right, that's when dipstick. Yeah. You think, oh my God, how could I do that or think that? Her particular one that she shared was about she was convinced that there was going to be an outbreak of snakes because she's from America. And so she went and bought every snake venom anti-whatever that you can take if you've been bitten by a snake, right? And because she was convinced that this was going to happen and that obviously she could help people or whatever, by buying these snake kits. I mean, it's that crazy. I mean, my most recent one, I love Thailand. I love the Buddhist religion. That's probably another thing we're talking about, incarnation. Or in fact, I am actually, I've taken what they call refuge in the Buddhist religion. And I've got a Buddhist name, Ghampa, which I believe I've used on my email. But Ghampa means loving kindness. So it's like, again, a virtue name again, I suppose. But and it was done at Samiling in Scotland, which is one of the major Tibetan Buddhist centres, I think, in the country. There's probably some in London, but obviously I live in Scotland, I'll just say that. And so I've also taken Krishna consciousness. So there's your Hindu religion. The three major religions I have been initiated into: Christianity, right? Because I am technically a lay Baptist priest. Hinduism through Krishna consciousness, And I lived it. That's what I do. I go and join. I lived at Back to Vedanta Manor as an example there and lived the faith, because that's what you've got to do. It's not just something by reading books. I think I'll do that. And it had a lot of connections of obviously what I'd been in a previous life. It felt really right, and I learned all about the mantra. But more significantly, I actually physically met, and not many people can say that he's now passed, Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada, who was the founder of ISKCON, or the founder of Krishna consciousness. And I met him in a room. I also met, significant because we all have, I believe there's this thing like group souls, or met George Harrison. And that was quite a significant event. I do believe that my dad taught me this, and I believe he was obviously my guru in previous lives. Everyone you meet, Graham, this is how he used to talk, Yorkshire, is special. Sort of pregnant boy. Yeah. Oh, yeah, everyone. Whoever you meet is special, and you are connected. Why? There are billions of people on the planet. You can't meet them all, but everyone you meet is special. Now, it doesn't mean you're going to go off and get married to them or what. It could just be that, but everyone you actually meet is special. And if you take that attitude into life, it's a very, I think, sound bit of philosophy, if you want to use that word. Because I generally, when I was meeting people, because I've been through a period of isolation and retreat, I'd always treat them and meet them what I'd say in love. And I'd really just literally beam love at them and, oh, hello, and make a really joyful event. In other words, saying you are divine, which is what they, namaste, which is love. That's what I liked about Thailand, that people would respond to that, although they've been westernized. The amount of people that when I said, when I meet them, I say, oh, hello. You're basically, that gesture saying, I honour the divinity within you. And it was returned straight away, although the customs changed. Like I say, they've got westernized, and the sex thing is very big in Thailand. I didn't know. When I went, I'm sitting by. When I went to Thailand the first time, I was going for very spiritual reasons. I went to a detox centre. And I spent quite a bit of money. It's when I had some money, and I went for the whole month, booked into this detox centre, run very strict. Funny enough, no sex. Even though couples would come, the woman running it would say, no, during this, if you want to get the maximum benefit of this detox and the fasting, because it's a fasting operation, and you had, not collid, where you flush out your system. Right. And that's part of it. And I learned, because I've had a weight problem for many years, going way back to my early 30s, I think. And it is, a lot of the weight is stored in your colon, colon flushing. There's a technical term for it, but that was part of the treatment. I went on a water fast, juice fast initially, where you do drink freshly made fruit juices, that's it, water, no solid food, and then ended with just a water fast. I got a certificate, you get a certificate, 12 kilos, and it is interesting experience. For the first 3 days, maybe 4, it is hard, even the smell of food. And we used to go down the beach. That'd be our day out or trip out. Nairnhan Beach, which is right on the southern tip of Phuket. Beautiful place. The beach is actually owned by a wat, which is like a monastery. So it's sacred land, right? There's a monastery base there. And there are a few commercial alcoholic developments on the beach, but it's very much contained and controlled, not like some of the beaches in Phuket that have got nightclubs, rock music blaring, you know, the rest of it, whatever. And I met the head monk, and there's this very interesting water system there that obviously goes back hundreds of years, where a small stream feeds into what the local people use. It's fresh water, like a boating lake. Yeah, there's a little island you can go out to, and then there's this man-made lake, quite big, which then eventually feeds out and goes into the sea. Now, I got very much into the whole concept, the Jewish concept, of using water to cleanse yourself and heal yourself. They call it mikvah. So it's different to baptism. You're not being initiated into the Jewish faith. It's actually a healing ritual. But there are strict conditions. It must be fresh water, so much water, and you can't wear jewelry into the thing, and you generally have an enclosed changing room come toilet to the mikveh, and you have an assistant, and all jewelry's taken, and you're washed and cleansed before you actually even go in. And there are prayers involved. And I thought, what a fantastic place, or still do, that this could be set up. And the Buddhists, the thing about them are they are very open to other faiths. In fact, this particular Wat shrine has various Hindu deities, if you like, in it. They're just a self-contained building that's glass generally, so you can see through, and that's where the statue of the various deities are, and people can come and make offerings, whether it's incense or what, I understand. And I came across, let's get this straight, a 12-headed Ganesh. Now, if you search this out, it is a genuine school, if that's the right word. But it stood out that amongst all the Buddhist saints, because a lot of them are just saints, great teachers, and so there's a shrine made to them. And if you happen to be into that school of thought, you can go. So it had many different, I think about 12 separate shrines, apart from the Buddhist shrine or teaching room, really. That was quite a big area. And I got to know the head monk, and genuine. I mean, his quarters he shared with another normal monk, although he was the head monk. And got a little TV in there and video games, because he takes in people, funny enough, who have psychological disorders. And that's what happens a lot in Thailand. If you have a psychological disorder, apart from going into conventional Western drug therapies, you can get sent or go to a Wat. And you live the life of a monk, because some of them were big, massive muscle men, if you want to call them that, with tattoos, right? A right burly lot who'd obviously been into quite a bit of hanky-panky, whatever you want to call it, but were there. They were his, because he was a very small man, actually. But this man got an incredible, like me, an incredible infinity with animals. and the local dogs that people unfortunately kick out or drop, got a whole pack of dogs that lived in the Watts grounds and which he fed. And dogs are like a pack animal, and he was the head dog to them, although he's human, but they were. And I had this amazing experience. I'm going to watch this. So it's live. So I don't know how this. Eventually, it's going to need processing. So this is just a general waffle because I didn't want to watch the news. But there you go. It's live. Some people, I've got 2 people high actually watching it, probably gone or whatever. But it'll get processed and be available for other people to watch at a later time. But I'm going to probably do this a few times, because this is my habit. I generally get up about 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. Like I say, as soon as the sun comes up, check out the news, and then go to bed for another 3 hours, until it's normal time to get up, 7 o'clock in the morning, and have breakfast, whatever. I'm going to curtail this and continue another time. Thanks to those that have come and whatever. And like I say, I'll probably make this a bit of a regular habit because I'm facing myself. Like I say, I've got this circulation condition. I'll end with that. And the way it affects me is I get very fatigued, can even be physically nauseous and feel sick. And it's been tested. I go back to that, not in actual hospital, when I came out of hospital, because they were trying various things and I was on a drip and I was having antibiotics put into a drip because taking them orally were just no good. And that's tried as a resort. And I was put on some other pretty heavy drugs, and the swelling did go down because my leg just swelled right up, and the doctor that came to see me thought I'd got a blood clot. Panic stations. Well, for me, because it's very dangerous and can go to your brain, and that's you. And again, I was so bad, I couldn't get a bus. So an ambulance was sent, no flashing lights, but I was taken in by ambulance, and I think it was the emergency. I had to wait quite a while, but was put in this little booth and sat on my own for quite a few hours, and eventually it was sorted out where I could go. But I'll just share that. When I went to me local surgery, where I go to see my normal doctor, if you follow me, I requested, I thought, you've got to wait 3 weeks to see a doctor now, at least where I am. So I wrote to the practice manager, because the receptionist suggested that. I said, well, look, I don't actually need an appointment. I'm wanting to access my medical files because I'm coming up for a review and I want to know the proper diagnosis this is, because I've got quite a few. And also asked the doctor if he's willing to support me. There's no point if the doctor says, nah, nothing wrong with you, mate, sort of thing. Whatever. And she said, we got no record of you going into hospital, which is nonsense. But it just goes to show, and the hospital's just across the road. For those who are from Elgin and that, Dr. Gray's hospital is literally across the road from the health centre that I go to. But I can get around that by obviously going to the hospital itself or ringing them up, and they will obviously have a record. But it wasn't that significant because, like I say, the actual test that I had, which verified that I've got this condition, which I think is one of the main conditions affecting my overall health and the fatigue I get and all the rest of it. Of course, I get my mood swings. Anyone's going to be depressed if they think, oh my God, I can't even walk and I haven't got a car. I didn't go into that, but I did have a car, but sold that to go to Thailand. But So I'm going to end this for now. Like I say, there's more. This is good therapy for me. Obviously, it's getting all this out, and I'm getting ready to go for I will have what's called a PIP, Personal Independence Allowance, they call it, interview. And so you've got to list all your conditions, any documents you've got, like I have. I've got a document I had recently to do with not being good with money because of mental health issues, and he put, I think it's schizoid affective disorder. The amount of different labels you can get for psychiatric conditions, no one's business. And like I say, originally I was diagnosed paranoid schizophrenic. I won't go into that now because whatever. But then you got changed to manic depression, manic depressive psychosis, and that's a significant diagnosis because manic depression can come in quite a few different forms and can just be a major mood swing. But not everyone with manic depression goes into psychosis, but I can and have done. Well, thanks for being there if you still are. I am going to end this. I'm going to go back to bed and whatever. And probably see you again. Bye for now. Yeah.